I will call today's meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 115th Annual General Meeting of the Saskatchewan Curling Association 1997 Inc., operating as CURLSASK. My name is Mitch Minkin, the President and Presiding Officer for this meeting. I would like to invite Executive Director Ashley Howard to provide the notice of meeting.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. President. The 2019 Annual General Meeting procedure for member proposals, board nominations were mailed to affiliate clubs, associate members, and region coordinators on January 28, 2019. The formal notice of the 2019 Annual General Meeting was emailed to all affiliate clubs that we had email addresses on file and placed on the CURLSASK website May 1st. The audited financial statements for the 2018-2019 fiscal year was also emailed to all affiliated clubs and registered voting delegates who had provided email addresses and placed on the CURLSASK website May 17th, 2019.
Thank you, Ashley. Next, I would call on you to report on the credentials of the delegates presented at the 2019 AGM.
My pleasure. Present at the 2019 CURLSASK Annual General Meeting are 14 member club voting delegates, 1 associate member voting delegate, 8 board members whom are non-voting, 11 past presidents, also non-voting. We have 10 observers, including our region coordinators, also non-voting, and 5 members of our CURLSASK staff. The total number of voting delegates at the 2019 Annual General Meeting is 15. A majority vote of 50% plus 1 is 9 votes. An amendment to a CURLSASK bylaw requires a majority vote. Member proposals received after the deadline date or a member proposal from the floor of this AGM would require a 3/4 or 75% majority vote to be considered. 3/4 or 75% majority vote, the number of votes is 12 votes.
Thank you, Ashley. At this time, I would like to introduce the CURLSASK board, region coordinators, past presidents, and special guests in attendance. I would ask you, as I call your name, to please stand so we have the board first. Vice President Christy Walker. We have our Treasurer, Finance Officer Chad Garreau. Directors Jim Wilson, Daryl Brandt, Helen Fornwald, Darlene Danilou, Michael Dudar, and absent today, but with us is Murray Strader. That is your past board. Our region coordinators, if you're in attendance, please stand. Darcy Hugebert, Bob Sonder, Aaron Shutra, Barb Swallow, Glenn Watchell, Brian Champion, Lauren Vonorowski, and Carol Narfison, your region coordinators. We have a nice delegate of past presidents with us today. In no particular order, but please stand. Patricia Bibby, Dennis Smith, Marg Mayotte, Brian Hill, Barry Whitehouse, Brenda Winter, Del Jones, Arnold Mikowski, Jerry Shoemaker, Gordon McKee, and Leanne McLean, your past presidents. And we have one special guest today, our provincial chief umpire, Deanna Ringdahl. At this time, I would call on everyone to join me in a moment of silence to remember those members who have passed away over the previous season. Thank you. The agenda for this meeting was circulated with notice. I ask for any additions to the agenda. Hearing no additions to the agenda, I call for a motion to approve the agenda. Please signify those folks with your paddle. And a seconder, please. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Just remember to keep your check mark forward if you're in favor. Minutes of the 2018 annual general meeting. Copies of the 2018 annual general meeting were available online and copies distributed at each table. Are there any errors or omissions to the minutes as they were distributed? Hearing none, I would call for a motion to adopt the 2018, the minutes of the 2018 annual general meeting as circulated. And a seconder, please. All those in favor? Okay, curling, right now we have the Curling Canada report. We have no representative from Curling Canada with us today, so I will present a brief report. Curling Canada, I know from my work as a MA president on some of the committees that I sit on, is in strong financial shape right now. We are building. Curling Canada is building towards a goal of a $5 million backstop fund, or if you will, a fund that they want to keep in reserve at all times to ensure that they have some flexibility in their operating. They have now built that fund once this year's statements are all done, it'll be close to $4.5 million, and they will finish that fund in the next financial year. So successful financial year again. From the governance side, the Board of Governors have taken a new approach and are looking at changing the way that the governance is. So for some of those folks that have been fortunate enough to be part of Curling Canada, I will announce officially that Carver is dead. So Curling Canada was governed under the Carver model for a number of years, and that has now been done away with, and they are moving towards a risk-based governance model. So this has taken up a fair bit of the Board of Governors' time. The other piece is continuing to work with the member associations to work towards a better working relationship to ensure that the member associations' voices heard with decisions at Curling Canada. So I will leave it at that for now, and I would, do I need a motion there, Kellen?
Okay.
I would ask someone to move and then second the acceptance of the Curling Canada report. And a seconder, please. All right, all those in favor? Perfect. All right. Our provincial funding partner, our next report is from SAS Sport, who's a major funding partner of CURLSASK. We are grateful and fortunate to receive funding from CURLSASK. I would like to acknowledge Warren Proctor, a former member of staff who has served as our provincial sport consultant for many years. He has been now assigned to other sports, but I wish to thank him for his time in supporting CURLSASK. And I would like to announce our new consultant, which is Kia Scholler. Kia is not with us this afternoon, but she will be with us this evening. So I will present the report she provided for us. Good afternoon, the Curling Saskatchewan community. I returned from maternity leave in March of 2019 and was so happy to become the sport consultant for your organization. As a good Saskatchewanian, I have been following curling internationally, nationally, and provincially. I would like to commend your leadership at the board level, your staff, and your coaches. Each of these groups has looked at CURLSASK's objectives and taken great strides to help athletes achieve their goals and take competition to the next level. I also work in the adaptive sport portfolio for CURLSASK and would like to take a moment to congratulate you on your work of your para-sport athletes, coaches, and the facilities for ensuring that all individuals have a meaningful opportunity to participate. This inclusion is something that our 2017 to 2021 strategic plan highlights in looking to see more sport, more international use of sport, and better sport in the province. Lastly, I would be remiss not to note the support that sport in Saskatchewan receives through our lottery agreement with the provincial government. A renewed lottery agreement was signed in January of 2019. The agreement guarantees eligible sport, culture, and recreation organizations will continue to receive and benefit from Saskatchewan lottery proceeds for the next 5 years. This relationship is unique to Saskatchewan and ensures consistent, sustained funding in a way that many of our provincial counterparts cannot. As my predecessor would say, the next Lotto 649 draw is $17 million. Get your tickets today. I look forward to our continued work together and for the successes that you will be able to share in the coming year. I would need a motion and a seconder to accept the SAS Sport report as presented. And a seconder, please. All those in favor? Thank you. Oh, I'll get a break. I would like to invite Del Jones to provide a report for the Past Presidents Club.
Thanks, Mitch. This morning, our Past Presidents Club met. We had 13 members present. We have one new member, After much debate and a close vote, we've accepted Mitch Minkin as the latest member of the Past Presidents Club. The Past Presidents Club committed to sponsor 2 curlers to the 1 per camp for the Prairie Land Curling Camp this summer. So that was our financial commitment. One of the things that we did to make sure that we could sustain our commitment to the campers is that we're going to invoice all the past presidents that weren't at the meeting so that we can collect their membership fees. It's $20 a year. We elected a new president and vice president. So I'm pleased to announce that the new president of the Past Presidents Club for the next 2 years will be Barry Whitehouse. And the new vice president is Brian Hill. And that concludes my report.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to move my report.
And could I get
Or no, I can't move it. I need someone to move it, I guess.
Thanks, Del. Would somebody be kind enough to move Del's report, and a seconder, please? And all those in favor? Thank you, Del. Thank you, Del. We'll next move into staff reports, and I would call on Ashley Howard, Executive Director, to provide the Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Mitch. My report is found on page 5 of the working papers, but I will give you some highlights to save you digging through those. So as we close the door on another season, the AGM becomes a perfect place for us to reflect and look back at some of the successes from the previous year, as well as some of the challenges that we have going forward and how to tackle them. So I'm very pleased to report the 2018-2019 was very successful from an operational perspective, although we did see some change within our organization. For me, the highlight I want to share with you is over 5,000 young school children attending a curling event, whether it be a Curling Canada event or a CURLSASK event. They got the time away from school, they came to our event, we jacked them up with a whole bunch of prizes from our friends at Three Farmers. We had them cheering, we had them screaming, and to be completely honest with you, we had the most excited 5,000 school kids you can imagine in our province. For me, it's such a pleasure to watch them get to watch their first rocks, and then head into our member clubs, throw their first rocks, and maybe be our future generation of champions. Our staff continues to be busy year-round with the operations of CURLSASK. We have experienced some change this year, welcoming defending junior champion Sarah England as our Prairie Land Camp Coordinator. That position is supported by the Canada Summer Jobs Grant. In December, we also added Daniel to our team as a membership coordinator. I'm so excited to bring this role on to our staff. We have so much capacity now to help our member curling clubs, provide support in a number of different ways, so welcome to Dan. We also had Kellen join the team as our executive assistant, who is a jack of all trades, not afraid to take anything on, and has been an amazing addition to our team. Pat and Matt returned for another year of more fun with us. Pat will give you a report as well, but did open the first ever Saskatchewan High Performance Training Centre in North Battleford, which is quite an accomplishment for our organization. As well, Matt led us again to being #1 among member associations as far as our followers on social media. And to be honest, I'm very, very proud of this team, the skill set that they bring, the passion they bring for curling, the dedication they have to stay late, to get the fine details done. I really can't thank you enough. You make my life pretty easy as your skip. Also, my sincerest thank you to the CURLSASK Board of Directors. Your dedication, your leadership, and your commitment to our sport is second to none. I'd like to also thank Mitch Minkin, our outgoing president, for his time, the time that I've worked with him over the 2+ years in his presidency role. Your leadership, your guidance to me, I'm very grateful for. We will miss your voice of reason, and let's be honest, your giggle in our board meetings. It's been a pleasure to work with each of you, and I look forward to working with incoming President Christy Walker as well. As we look forward to the future, it's an exciting time for our organization and our sport. We're looking at new ways to combine our events to make them successful and attractive to host committees. We're looking at revised committee structures so we can make quick, decisive decisions when needed, new partnerships, and continued investment for our members. I look forward to working with each of you as we take Saskatchewan curling to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. I would ask if there are any questions for Ashley from the floor.
Thank you.
Seeing none. Next, I would invite Pat Simmons, Director of High Performance, to provide an update on high performance curling in Saskatchewan.
Thanks, Mitch. Hi, everyone. The 2018-19 curling season was again a very busy one that saw a bunch of change both in the high performance program, including a new CURLSASK training center, as Ashley mentioned, a successful New Holland Prairieland curling camp, new coaching certifications, and finally provincial and national champion preparations. The format of our high performance program included both the Tier 1 and Tier 2 divisions this past season. Tier 1 qualification included the likes of previous seasons, CURLSASK provincial men's and women's champions, provincial junior men's and women's champions, and runners-up, U18 provincial men's and women's champions, mixed doubles champions, and the likes of more. These teams had access to 6 Saskatchewan Sports Science and Medicine consultant sessions, 6 provincial consultant sessions, free early ice access, utilization to equipment, and more perks beyond that. A total of 15 teams were included in that Tier 1 high performance program. Teams that were unsuccessful at qualifying for the Tier 1 high performance program then had an opportunity to be involved in a Tier 2 high performance program this season, including 2 sports science sessions, consulting training sessions, early ice, equipment, and more as well. I'm happy to report that we had 26 teams in our Tier 2 program this past year, 15 of which were junior age, 11 Winter Games age. More teams, at the end of the day, accessing more information, which is the name of the game. All junior teams in either Tier 1 or Tier 2 also had access to a new outside-the-box program, whereby they could reach out to the following people for arranged consultation free of charge. So a big thanks to Caitlin Laws, Lisa Weigel, Mark Kennedy, and Reed Carruthers for taking part in this and for sharing their wisdom with our future stars. 2018 did see the start of a great partnership with the Twin Rivers Curling Club in North Battleford, becoming CURLSASK's official training center. Ice was in this past season for training by August 17th and was well utilized throughout August and September at an important time of year with the World Curling Tour starting so early and the season lengthening these days. A new Sask mixed doubles tour also kicked off in North Battleford, as well as a brand new Junior Slam event, our first for Saskatchewan, hosting our province's best junior players and also taking advantage of the early ice to help extend their junior season. Thanks to Doug Flash, Ian Naismith, and their crews for all the hard work and terrific ice conditions for our athletes to train. In addition, Sheet 1 at that curling club was equipped with a state-of-the-art video analysis system, including 2 monitors, 3 camera views, high definition, and all kinds of tools for training purposes for our athletes. Congratulations to teams Ackerman and Gervais, our Canada Games Trials gold medalists, and Saskatchewan representatives at the Canada Winter Games in Red Deer, closing out another Winter Games training year, which saw all the teams participate in 2 dedicated camps with Canada Games coaching certification, mentorship, and great competition and development. It was definitely a busy year helping prepare our championship teams for competition. Thank you to all our teams representing Saskatchewan in the way that we can all be proud of. and for their dedication and hard work both this season and going forward. A special congratulations to Team Corday on capturing the Senior Men's Championships, Team Anderson on yet another Senior National and World Championship gold medal, Team Sirota with a Masters Canadian Championship, as well as Team Height for their bronze medal finish, Team Kleider for exciting the home province crowd en route to a third place finish at the National Junior Championships in Prince Albert, and Team Silvernagle for bursting onto the Scottish scene with an impressive third place podium finish in their first Canadian Championship. In addition, there were many other performances resulting in significant bonspiel and/or slam victories and other great results by Saskatchewan teams, as well as a large step forward in ranking for many. With excitement, we look forward to next season, to a Southern Saskatchewan option for technical excellence and video analysis, to further coaching development and leading-edge research, to new camp format and development opportunities beyond, and to further instilling what it means to wear a green jacket, what it takes, and to the new expectations associated with that, as we continue to further give our great fans contenders to cheer for and our youth role models to aspire to for the next generation. Lastly, a huge thank you to our provincial CURLSASK consultants, learning facilitators, instructors, and mentors for timeless hours spent to improve our provincial sport, and to the coaches and athletes for chasing their dream, and to the CURLSASK Board of Directors and staff for their shared vision of excellence. To a great season ahead.
Thank you, Pat. I will call for any questions on Pat's report. Thanks, Pat. Seeing none, we will move next to Marketing and Member Services Coordinator report from Matt Moran.
Perfect. Thanks, Mitch. Good afternoon, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Matt Ring, and this has been my third full season with CURLSASK as Marketing and Membership Services Coordinator. All I can really say is, wow, what an exciting journey it's been so far, to be honest, and I'm just truly privileged to be surrounded by all the dedicated curling enthusiasts around Saskatchewan that we have, so it's been a treat for sure. I'll just briefly touch on a few things this afternoon, but you can find my full report in the working papers in front of you there. So first off, just a few numbers from our existing programs that took place in 2018-2019. Again, our Viterra Youth Clinics and Fun Curl programs were a hit once again. At the beginning of the year, I sat down with Jamie Young from Viterra in Regina there and made a realistic goal of reaching the 1,000 participation mark, and we did just that. It was very exciting. And we had a final number of 1,109 participants through 24 different affiliated clubs here in Saskatchewan. And we look forward to building the program further. We have a few ideas coming down the hole here, and just look forward to moving ahead with that successful programs. Next, our second annual Hit Draw and Tap competition took place again throughout the province. At the local shootouts, there were 272 participants from 18 different affiliated clubs, up from last year's mark of 216. We then hosted our provincial shootout between the semi-final and final games at the 2019 Sasol Tankard in Whitewood. An exciting day for everybody, really, especially the young ones that walked in the door. We gave them the true treat of a player, you'd say. We gave them locker room privileges, custom hoodies and CURLSASK scarves. Gave them an ice making tour with our provincial ice makers. Access to the semi and final games, of course, and just the experience of competing on the arena ice was definitely cool for them. Through the first 2 years of running this program, I've loved every single minute of it, and just can't get over the smiles of the kids' faces that take part. So it's been a lot of fun, and we are excited this year to announce our partnership with Curling Canada, moving forward with this program. So that's great to hear too. Next, we hosted another year of affinity curling in community clinics, as well as numerous adult clinics around the province. A total of 139 participants took part, up from 95 1 year ago, so that was nice to see those numbers grow there. These style clinics are just aimed at getting new people interested in the game, either if they're past curlers to come back to the game or existing members to become better curlers in general. It's just a great opportunity to gain interest in your club and gain funds as for your club as well. Next, as our 5th annual Provincial Day of Curling, presented by Three Farmers Foods Incorporated, took place back in January, we decided to try something new and exciting, not only for our committee, but for the curling clubs that were willing to take part. And what we did was we did a little video contest promoting the club's activities on Curling Day in Saskatchewan, with 3 cash prizes actually distributed to the winners. We saw this as not only an opportunity for CURLSASK to promote our 5th annual Curling Day in Saskatchewan, but also a marketing promotional tool for the clubs to use moving forward into the coming years. Social media has grown tremendously over time. It's been unbelievable actually, and just continues to surprise everybody with all their technological advances and whatnot. With that, we see our social media tools as one of many outlets to communicate, share, and gather ideas from players, members, volunteers, and just your general fans in the sport of curling. We take pride in our numbers, as Ashley mentioned. We sit atop of all the member associations here in Canada in both Facebook likes, Instagram followers, and our YouTube channel as well. With all these avenues, we're able to share our news, our highlights, and of course our big provincial curling webcasts with views coming from all over the world, actually, Mexico, US, and even Europe, so that's nice to see that as well. New this year, back in October, we created a Facebook group called Saskatchewan Curling Clubs Connects. Our goal with creating this channel was just to have curling club reps from around the province the ability to engage in discussion and share ideas with one another. We're currently sitting at just over 60 clubs. I believe we're at 62 club reps from Saskatchewan, with CURLSASK region coordinators, a few board members, and staff members also included in the group as well to help drive discussion and answer any questions that may arise. I just want to thank all the club reps for their patience through this process and their contributions so far. I think we can take this a long way and really create something neat here. If your club is not yet registered in this group, please pull me aside after the AGM here and we can get the ball rolling, for sure. If I could thank each person right now, honestly, I'd be up here for hours that has contributed to the success of all these programs that I've mentioned. And I definitely see many of the faces in this room today. And the support and passion these people have that I've seen at each club over the past 3 seasons has just been unbelievable. And I really believe we have some of the best in Canada here in Saskatchewan, so I just thank everybody for all their hard work. It's been a treat to work with you, that's for sure. All in all, I would just like to send out a thank you and appreciation to all our dedicated sponsors to all our programs, Viterra, Three Farmers Foods, Inc., Affinity Credit Union, and Curling Canada for their support in our local programming. Please take the time to support these amazing organizations in whatever way you can, as well as a big thanks. Just to hand it off here to the board, to the office staff, instructors, and volunteers around the province that honestly work tirelessly to make my job a little smoother to handle, so I can't really thank you enough. I'll just end it off. That's kind of all for my report here. I just want to thank you for your time, and hopefully have a great summer. Awesome, thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions on the Marketing and Member Services Coordinator report? All right, our final staff report will come from Dan Selke, our Membership Coordinator.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Daniel Selke, Membership Coordinator. My full report is found on page 19. Since being hired in early October, I've been working hard to learn and develop the ins and outs of this new role. My passion for curling and experiences in competition and league play have been a great asset in forming the foundation that I'll build on within this organization. I've been a familiar face at several Fun Curl clinics with Matt Ring, and a regular at the Prairie Land Curling Camp over the past 4 years. I can say that I feel right at home with the CURLSASK staff. Please allow me to briefly discuss a few of the areas I've been at work at this past 8 months. One of my first tasks was to oversee the CURLSASK Connects project. This is our fancy term for a survey that we take with club managers or presidents to receive feedback, both good and bad. This was an initiative started last season, and we plan to carry it forward for the foreseeable future. Our region coordinators were tasked with connecting with our current affiliated clubs in their respective regions. This was a detailed questionnaire with 21 different inquiries. Through these questions, we would understand the current state of the club and how we can better use our governance to help each club, not just to stay afloat, but to thrive. I will now highlight some of our findings. For the question that was proposed, what are the top 3 most important things that CURLSASK does? Our answers coming in at number 1 were youth development, number 2, providing over $200,000 in funding to clubs, and number 3 was training coaches, officials, and ice technicians. For the question, what is the biggest challenge our clubs will face in the next 5 years? Our overwhelming answer was maintaining or growing their membership. For the question, what are the club members asking for? A very clear majority are wanting more instructional clinics or training courses. Some of the general comments are requests for more programming for middle school aged kids, as well as some suggestions surrounding adult learning curl clinics. Part 2 of this project was the responsibility of our board members to find the contact information for our very outdated list of non-affiliated clubs, learn what we could from them, and either keep them in our database or update if they no longer have a physical rink or a club in place. Our results in this journey have been great. We have learned of a few towns that no longer have a club in place, and in one case, Pierceland, they have fully transitioned into an archery range, which is kind of neat. They dissolved all their curling stones and usable equipment. And in a handful of conversations with these clubs, we learned some of their biggest needs also. Number 1, consistently being membership. Number 2, rink upgrades. LED lighting was a big one there. And number 3, clinics and technical advice, such as rocks and ice making as well. As a result of these past 2 seasons promoting this project, we hope to have reached all our clubs by the end of next year. The efforts of our region coordinators and board members have been very greatly appreciated. Right out of the gate, I began with the affiliating process, mailing out membership forms and benefits cards to last year's affiliates. This year found 126 clubs in this province choosing to make CURLSASK their provincial sport governing body. That is 13,531 members, of which 1,024 are declared under the age of 12. And that's a very rough estimate. We assume there's quite a bit more on there and out there. It is promising to see these youthful numbers as well. We had 1 new club from Denzel join and had a new associate member come on board, the Sask Blind Sports Association, bringing that total to 7. The Sask men's, ladies, and mixed doubles curling tours will be strengthening their relationship with us starting this upcoming season via an associate membership, where they will now be able to utilize the web-based program Curling.io to aid in their registration and competition management. We are very excited about this next step in our relationship with the tours. One of the greatest benefits CURLSASK has to offer our member clubs is our Membership Assistance Program grant, funded through Sask Sport by way of Sask Lotteries. Get your lottery tickets. I have spent a lot of my working hours learning all I can about this program and searching for ways to allow our member clubs to utilize this to its fullest. The vision of this grant is to see the dollar spent in ways that will increase its membership quality and or enhance the conditions of gameplay. Over the last several years, we have seen around 80 to 85% of our clubs take advantage of this great opportunity. This upcoming year, due to those efforts, we now have 98% of our member clubs applying for this financial support. This is going to allow our clubs to pour on average $967 into an area of their club that needs some attention. Moving forward, I'll be utilizing our efforts in the Connects project to visit with some of the club representatives of non-affiliated clubs to discuss with them what CURLSASK does, the prospect of affiliation, and to see firsthand the many great communities in our province. I'll also be revisiting the MAP grant criteria and allotment to ensure that we are distributing these funds in the best way possible. Another highlight of my summer has been and will continue to be helping instruct and teach at the Prairie Land Curling Camp. This year it's in North Battleford. I'm looking forward to another year with CURLSASK to implement my many lessons learned as a rookie We have a great team of staff and many wonderful volunteers that help make this organization what it is. And I'm eager to see our plans for the future development, for the future develop to strengthen the curling community in this province and our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Are there any questions for the membership coordinator's report? Seeing none, thank you. This concludes our staff reports, and at this time I would like to call for a motion to accept the staff reports as presented. And a seconder, please. Thanks, Bob. And everyone in favor of accepting these reports? Thank you. Next, we'll move to the board committee reports. First is the executive committee. You will find the full report of the executive committee on page 7 in your papers. Just a couple highlights and a little bit of how it operates. The executive committee consists of the president, vice president, and financial officer of the board. Their role is as a liaison between the board and the executive director in the operations of CURLSASK. Second of all is at least the president and vice president, as part of the executive committee, also participate with Curling Canada and are delegates to the Curling Canada's National Curling Congress and AGM. So I think that probably concludes, so I would like to thank Christy Walker and Chad Garreau for hanging with me all year, and it was a pretty exciting year. All right, so that concludes the executive committee report. Are there any questions from that report? Seeing none, I would like to invite our finance officer, Chad Garreau, to walk through the reports of finance.
Thank you, Mitch. Good afternoon, everyone. So my report is on page 8, brief report. My main job here today is to present 3 things to you. So starting with the first one, on the tables you'll see a handout for the financial statements of Saskatchewan Curling Association operating as CURLSASK, year ended March 31st, 2019, as prepared by KPMG. Page 1, you'll have the statement of financial position. Page 1's actually on page 5 or 6, I believe. Page 2 will show an excess of revenue over expenses of $22,861. And pages 3 to 14 will give you extra information such as cash flows, changes in net assets, notes to the financials, and the schedules. So I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt the 2018-2019 CURLSASK audited financial statement for the year ending March 31st, 2019.
So I will call for a motion in second, and then call for questions once we have it on the floor. So could I have a motion to accept the financial statements? Corey, and a seconder, Dean. All right, so question, the financial statements are on the floor. Are there any questions arising from the financial statements as presented? Barry? Yeah, please, if you would.
I just have one question to Chad. Can you tell me what the wages are that CURLSASK paid out last year and for next year?
Yes, I can, if you give me 10 seconds or so. So the administration salaries and benefits for 2019 were $279,546.
Okay.
In 2018, they were $247,756.
Okay. Does that include the high performance coach?
That one is separate, right?
No, the wages are in the wages, and then there is, of course, grants provided by Sassport that offset the wages of the high performance, the director of high performance.
Okay. And what's the projected for next season?
For 2019, 2020, the administrative salaries and benefits, we have projected at $327,809.51.
Okay. And again, provincial coach, that'll be covered through grants and whatnot again?
There is grants as well.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just a little concerned. The year I was president, I think our total wages were $230,000. Now we're just about $100,000 higher than that in a mere 6 years. So that's, to me, it seems like quite an increase.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So, yes, the wages or salaries have increased, Barry, but we've also added additional staff to deliver more programs to our members that our members have been asking for. So I think we're probably 1.5, maybe even 2 full staff members above when you would have been president.
Right. So if we have no funding coming in, like through sponsorship to run our events, how many years can we survive?
Well, at this time, and I mean, it'll be part of the budget report, we provide a balanced budget every year.
Try to,
yes. We've been successful for the last number of years, so that's all part of our budgeting process to ensure that we are sustainable in providing a budget that balances each time we present it, and we've been successful in actually executing on those budgets. As you can see, this year we have a small profit at the end of the year.
Okay, that was just a concern I had. I didn't realize the high performance coaches came under grants and stuff. So, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a couple quick questions here. On page 1, the accounts payable and current, under liabilities and net assets, we're up to 89,000 versus we were sitting at 18. Obviously, there's something happened in there. Why the discrepancy is quite large there?
Yeah, so part of that is, and a small part of it is the accounts payable and accrued liabilities as per note 6, and then some of it is the timing of when we do our year end.
Okay. Okay. Also, just a question, and for clarification, just further down there, the net assets, investment in property, equipment, and intangible assets, were $50,000 difference compared to the year before. I'm just wondering it's $50,000, what that potential purchases or assets were.
Yeah, the big one was the rocks.
The big one, okay.
That was the big part of it, and then some of it's computer equipment.
Okay, thank you.
Scoreboards.
Right. So just to add to that, so with the with the opportunity that's been provided to us from some successful national events that have happened in Saskatchewan, we've been able to build out CURLSASK's assets to assist our host committees in delivering the provincial championships. So in part of that is that now host committees are not responsible to find a lot of the equipment that they would have had to in the past. So we've purchased 4 sets of championship rocks that are available for our host committees. Previously, we had purchased carpet, which was always something that the host committees had to deal with. We have purchased now some modern scoreboards, which provide a little bit of ease of transport and also a little more professional look, and finally some draping for the boards in the arenas as we go forward. So though that we provide those in a rental agreement, but much more cost-effective way for our host committees that are provincials.
Okay, thank you. Just one more quick question. At the very top on our assets on the cash, we were sitting with 93,000. Now we're at 273. The cash assets. So is that because it wasn't moved because of our year end, or what? Why is? I mean, that's an extreme difference.
Correct, yeah. If you compare it to the investments, you'll see the investments are lower at year end compared to the previous year. That was just a GIC that came due, and we held it in cash.
And then you left it.
And then we, yeah.
Better interest rate.
Just a question on the sponsorship revenue on the budget versus what you had last year, 104,000. Looking at budget, 199,000 for this year. That's a pretty big increase. I was just wondering how if that's sponsorship is already coming into place, or that's just something we're hoping to get.
That is not all in place yet. It is what we're hoping to have in place.
So if I could follow up on that, CURLSASK has undertaken an initiative with a consultant company to assist us in delivering on those sponsorship numbers. Okay, so the company is called Spark Booking and Creations, and we've undertaken an initiative with them to solidify our sponsorship. We've been, as probably everyone is aware of, our sponsorship has been sliding a little bit, so we recognize that as a risk. So we've undertaken there, and we're confident in working with them and in discussions with them that we'll be able to achieve our sponsorship goals.
At a cost? Like they charge us for that, though, right?
Yes, of course, there's a cost for their services, but reasonable net effect for CURLSASK.
Is it straight on cost, or is it based on commission?
It is a percentage commission contract. All right. If there are no further questions, I would call for a vote to accept the financial statements as presented. Thank you. Passed.
And thank you everybody for the questions, and thanks for the support. Number 2, item number 2 is for the appointment of the auditor for the 2019-2020 season, as well as the costs associated with that. So I'd ask for a motion from the membership to appoint KPMG as the auditor for 2019-2020.
Again, I will call for the motion and second, and we will have discussion prior to the vote So will somebody please move the appointment of the auditors? And a seconder, please. Any questions in the appointment of the auditor? All right, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of the appointment of the auditor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Carry on, Chad, budget.
All right, third and last is the proposed budget for the 2019-2020 season. It is in the working papers, pages 50 to 53. And the blue shaded section is for the 1920 season. Supporting budget notes are on pages 53 and 54. CURLSASK has budgeted for a surplus of $1,286.98. And again, I would ask the membership for the motion to adopt the budget as circulated.
So just, again, we'll get the motion in a second and then discussion. So I have someone motion for Colleen and a seconder, please. Any discussion? Any further questions on the budget as presented?
On page 50, under the National Sport Organization, the budget was 89,000 last year, and you had 226,000. That's the profits from the Briar.
Yes, that's correct.
So then when you look at your final dollar, if we wouldn't have had those profits from the Briar, would we have been big time in the hole?
Okay, so they're just letting me know that it's both the profits from the Briar and all the membership fees that we collect on behalf of CURLSASK, which are also on the expense ledger because they're just a flow through.
Mm-hmm.
So when the budget was created, we budgeted a conservative amount for those for the profits from the Briar, which allowed us, of course, to make those investments in some of the equipment that we've purchased for the provincial championships. So yes, if the Briar would have been a disaster, we would have had to adjust, and we would have been in a deficit position.
Yeah, it does concern me to a fair amount, just because of the extra staffing and stuff that's being spent. If we don't have a national championship in Saskatchewan, we're looking at a minus on our books.
As you can see in the 18-19 budget, that is now back down to an amount, so to a more conservative amount, especially with we do have a national championship coming next year, but we've budgeted at a much more conservative level. Any further questions? Seeing none, I would call for a vote to approve the budget as presented. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. Next, I would call on Chair of the Governance and Policy Committee, Darlene Danley, to present the report on behalf of the committee.
President Mitch, Vice President Christie, past presidents, directors, staff, delegates, and friends. My report is found on page 9, And the Governance and Policy Committee is responsible for guiding the board to oversee and maintain the development of the CURLSASK bylaws and policies. This year, we had our big initiative was to look at our bylaws and bring them up to date with wording and to make sure that they are matching the Nonprofit Corporations Act. And so we did hire Stephen Indig, Sport and Law Group, to undertake this project with us. And it is our governance committee now. We will be looking to make sure that the rewrite of these bylaws match or are very similar to what we had, and that they match our CURLSASK policies. Okay. Our committee also gave direction to all of our CURLSASK committees to review and update the policies. As Dan has said, the MAP grant funding to be distributed to member clubs funding will be the same as last year. And just something that isn't in my report that I was talking with Matt Ring, and I thank him for this. CURLSASK is constantly testing numerous video output options to deliver and communicate content to our members around the province. And today we have used and are currently using these outputs to record the member sessions that took place this morning, or this afternoon, pardon me. As well, Rory McCusker and his high definition camera, you can see Rory over there and he moves over there, he's trying to fool me, has been contracted to record this 2019 AGM. So special thanks to Matt Ring, who will be making the member sessions and AGM available to all our members at the conclusion of this AGM weekend. And also thank you to, I think Dan Selke set it up. He was monitoring Kirk's presentation this morning on Facebook Live. So if you have Facebook, you can go back and you can see the presentation. At the end of the year, the committee encourages CURLSASK committees to develop an action plan to pass on to our new committee. This would include the review of what we've done this year and also recommendations, goals, and actions for how to complete next year. I'd like to thank our committee of Chad Garreau, Helen Fornwald, Ashley Howard, and Kellen Geiger, our staff support for their time and efforts this past year. Questions?
Any questions for the Governance and Policy Committee? Thank you, Darlene. Next order of business is the report from the Strategic Planning Committee. I'd like to invite Chair Michael Dudar to provide us with this report.
Thank you, Mr. President. My report is found on page 10 of the working papers. The Strategic Planning Committee is comprised of Helen Fornwald, Director, Vice President Christy Walker, and Finance Officer Chad Garreau, supported at the operational level by Executive Director Ashley Howard. Strategic planning is not necessarily the sexiest component of CURLSASK, but it's absolutely necessary because it does guide the direction of the organization over the life cycle of the strategic plan. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have with respect to strategic planning. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Michael. Next is the sexy stuff. I would like to invite Ashley Howard to provide the report from the Competition Committee.
Wow, if that isn't the best introduction of my life. Thank you, Mitch. So this year, I had the pleasure of co-chairing the competition committee with Daryl Brand. Since I'm the paid staff member, that means I get to give you this report today from the sexy stuff. So our group is tasked with a large mandate overseeing all of our competitions, our rules, our liaisons, umpires, site selection. I could go on and on. It is a big mandate. But I do recommend taking a glance at our competition committee report in the working papers. There's lots of information in there regarding number of entries, participation, dates and sites, as well as some results from the previous year. I would like to draw your attention, though, to some growth in our sport in the new discipline, or somewhat new discipline, of mixed doubles. This year, a new Saskatchewan mixed doubles curling tour was developed with quite a bit of success. We also saw a record number of entries into our mixed doubles provincial, which has continued to grow year over year since its inception. And we also had the pleasure of hosting the first ever under-18 mixed doubles championship in Estevan. We had 20 teams attend, and we're really looking forward to watching this sport grow in a competitive sense, but also assisting those member clubs looking to fill up some extra ice time in developing leagues, teaching clinics, etc. to grow this game. I'm also very pleased to report that increased participation in the following formats. So in the women's, the junior men's, junior women's, mixed doubles, the men's club championship, Masters men's, U18 men's, U18 women's, and of course the under 18 mixed doubles I just spoke about. So my well done and hats off to the host committees who welcomed us into a number of towns and cities across the province and put on exceptional events for our competitors. This year, we see the retirement of our chief umpire, Del Jones. His countless hours of support over the past number of seasons has been tremendous to ensure that all of our competitions are fairly governed and officiated at all of our events. We do look forward to keeping him on board to help with those draws, as he is a wizard with those. We're also happy to announce, although the president took my gusto, Deanna Rindle from Prince Albert coming in and serving as our new chief umpire. Her level of expertise and knowledge will be invaluable to our committees, our competitions, and our umpires' development moving forward. In closing, I would like to thank the 2018-2019 competition committee for all their time and effort this season. I'd also like to report back to our membership at this time. We are moving forward with a revised championship committee structure. This will really streamline the process for decision making, but also allow us to incorporate player and coach feedback in our decisions as it relates to our competitions. We also look forward next year to seeing our men's and women's provincials on display together in Melville at the beautiful Horizon Credit Union Centre. And we look forward to watching all of our teams don those green jackets and represent our province with pride.
Questions? Yes.
Under the U18, you are going to Hughes Fields right now, it looks like. And I wondered what the thinking was on that.
For sure, a keen eye. So we've had quite a bit of discussion at the former competition committee as well as the championship committee, even taking place over this weekend. And we are moving forward with a proposal to the board of directors tomorrow to increase the number of teams at the under 18 provincials, which we feel is really important for our player development. We've also received a lot of feedback from our players, from our coaches, that regions, we were having difficulty ensuring the top 8 teams, in this case at the provincial championship. And we were also seeing regions in which there was very strong teams. The participation numbers were really down in those regions. So we feel for development opportunity, moving to qualifying spiels, allowing teams to improve and work on their skills in between qualifiers, fits best with the development model we're looking for our under 18. And I should say that is subject to the board approval on Sunday, but that is a recommendation, so.
Barry?
On page 24, there could be an amendment there on the umpire clinic, so there's one held in Whitewood with approximately 19 million people playing.
Okay.
29 people, I think.
What level?
Just one. Thanks, Barry. I'll make sure to include that on the reports going forward to SAS Board. Appreciate it.
All right, if there are no further questions, thank you, Ashley. We'll move to the Participation Development Committee, and I would ask Chair Jim Wilson to provide the report.
Thank you, Mitch.
My report can be found on page 11. I just would like to touch on a couple of things that we did this past year. First of all, I would love to thank 3 farmers for their sponsorship in the Provincial Day of Curling. Secondly, we still are going through ongoing talks with SGI, and it's getting closer, and hopefully we can have our own provincial license plate within the next year. And thirdly, and Matt touched on this briefly, we had launched our first video award for the member clubs, was sent in, and the winners received $2,500, and that was the CN Curling Club. And second place of $1,500 was Ogama Curling Club. I butchered that first. And third, the $500 went to Makawa Curling Club. And I just want to thank all the membership rinks and videos that received. It was awesome. My report.
Okay. Questions? All right. Just before you leave, Jim, I understand it might be a very special day for Jim. So, happy birthday. Finally, Volunteer Screening Committee Chair Daryl Brandt.
Thank you, Mitch. My official report is found on page 12. I'm not going to go into it too much. Looking after criminal records check is something that we feel is very, very important. We have a fantastic group of coaches, and as Ashley had mentioned, the participation in U18 and U21 went up this year, which meant we had more coaches. Under Curling IO, when they go to enter, there's now a box to check off whether the coach has a current criminal records check. This has become almost, makes the program run by itself. We had absolutely no issues at all this year with any of our junior coaches. We do hold coaches to a very high standard, including ones that are coaching the adult events in men's and women's. We had out-of-province coaches for women's that their jurisdiction did not require respect in sport. We don't allow it in Saskatchewan, and even though they're adults, we still go with that. It's a great program to protect the children. We now have in place that if you are required to get a criminal records check, and you can call the office and there'll be a letter of request, and this will go to any coach that's going to coach in a CURLSASK event. With this letter, you can go to your provincial or your RCMP or your police department, have the criminal records check done. If they happen to charge, we will now reimburse any coaches that participate in a CURLSASK event. It's just a fantastic program just to protect the children. Thank you.
Any questions for the Volunteer Screening Committee and Daryl? Thank you, Daryl. I will just follow on with a little bit of information. Safe Sport is becoming a major initiative on the national sport governing page. There was recently a summit held to discuss safe sport, and there has been a committee struck of CEOs and various large stakeholders for safe sport in light of some of the awful things that have happened. So as we move forward, it will become much more in the limelight. I'm proud to say that CURLSASK has been way ahead of the curve on this front with the policies that we've had in place on volunteer screening for a number of years. We're in comparison to our other MA counterparts, we're head and shoulders above, and they're just trying to catch up to where we are today. So this concludes the reports from the committees. I would like to call for a motion to accept the committee reports as presented. And a seconder, please. All those in favor of acceptance of the reports? Thank you. All right, member proposals. I was queried a little earlier today, where are the member proposals in the package? And there were no member proposals received or provided for by the board this year, so there are no member proposals at this AGM. So we'll move next to the President's report. And you will find the actual report sitting on page 4. Just to give you some of the highlights. So, as I am outgoing this year, I would like to thank my fellow board members and all the staff for a really tough year, a little bit in some regards, as we were making our way through some new initiatives, and a little changeover in staff. And as you can see from the reports from our staff here, we're definitely moving the bar upward. And I guess just to follow up some of the questions a little bit earlier, I'm proud to say that CURLSASK is growing and moving its way into a much more professional organization. We're making the transition to a little bit bigger corporation, and we have the sustainability to get there. I can assure you the board has had many deliberations around that sustainability and around those purchases. I'll follow up with that in terms of how much care the board has taken. I remember as I was incoming, a wise president said to me, make sure you look after what has been built before you. And I'm proud to say that certainly on a financial basis, we've grown in the time that I've been president. We've grown our current assets, our cash and investments, by over $100,000. So we continue to grow. I mean, it's the good fortune of having some national events in our member association and being able to profit from them. Now, of course, those profits are put back into the organization and into supporting both our championships and our member clubs. So you can see as we're working our way through our program development, our hit, draw, tap, and the support we do and the marketing we do through that at our championships. And it's we're not just focused on one side of it. We're working on both sides of the equation, where we're supporting our member clubs and trying to develop programs to assist them with being successful, as well as our competitions. So a move like we have to appoint a provincial ice technician and work through a contract with him supports both our provincial championships and makes those consistent, as well as supporting our ice tech group. And we're working towards that into the future to make sure that we're supporting our clubs in some of the stuff you heard earlier today, in making sure that we have good rocks and good ice and everybody enjoys the game wherever they play. In the future, I'm excited to see what's going to happen with our provincial championships in terms of making them much more sustainable and providing opportunities for arena ice to more championships. as well as helping our host committees being able to run successful, profitable events. So I think as we go forward, there's going to be some tough days in negotiating our way into changes to the championships, but I'm really, really, really excited about what's coming in the future. And I guess just to mention again, I might have mentioned it already, but our participation on the national stage is also quite strong. We managed to be part of the governance group. I sat as vice chair of the MA President's Group last year, and I sat as chair this year, so we continue to strive to make our voice heard on the national stage as well. Any questions for my president's report? All right, then I would ask for a motion and a second to accept my report. Scott and Bob. All right, and all those in favor? All right, we are to the election of new business. Oh, new business. Sorry. New business. Is there any new business that anyone would like to bring forward at this point? Seeing none, we'll move forward to the election of directors. I will report the nomination for board positions closed 45 days prior to the AGM on April 17th, 2019. The board nominations that were received and the available positions are in the AGM working papers starting on page 47. Yes, thank you. I am going to change the order just slightly to suit the flow a little bit better. So I will deal with the board members at large. So there being that we received the proper number of notifications, there will not be a vote for any board member at large positions. We have 3 positions that were vacant on regular term turnover of every 2 years. So it's three board directors change over every year. We have a 1-year term for a board director that is a result of one of the existing board directors in midterm that has moved up into the vice president role. So we have 3 board directors for a 3-year term and 1 director for a 1-year term. So I will introduce each of the board members that have been nominated, and I'm going to ask them to come introduce themselves and say a few words. So returning board director, Daryl Brandt, he has been nominated from the Lumsden Curling Club.
Thank you, Mitch. 2 years ago, I was approached to let my name stand, and I did with the support of my local club, of course, and the current directors of the CURLSASK and you as voting delegates. I was asked to let my name stand again for a second 2-year term, which I agreed to. I've had a lot of challenges, but being in competition in the last couple of years, there's some real exciting things going forward. And with your support, I would like to continue in that role. And I had the support I gained from the Lumsden Curling Club. And I truly thank the board and staff, the outgoing staff, I guess it is, or outgoing board. But the support from all of them has been great. It's a great group of people, and I just wish to continue for another 2 years.
Thank you, Darryl. And I'd like now to invite Darlene Danilou and from her nominator, the Granite Curling Club in Saskatoon.
I would also like to thank the Granite for nominating me again, and I would like to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to be on the CURLSASK Board of Directors for another 2 years, Mitch, not 3. There's so much to learn. I didn't realize how much the operation of the CURLSASK board and how large we really are. So I'm happy to do this for a second term, and I thank you all and my club. And as Darryl put it so precisely, the staff is so wonderful to work with. We're moving forward, especially in our digital age where we can have so many opportunities to present to our members, and hopefully our membership grows. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. So just so I somewhere misspoke. The board director terms are 2 years, and we change over 3 directors each year. All right. The next 2-year term is a new board director, Darcy Hubert, from and nominated by the Moose Jaw Ford Curling Centers. Darcy.
I'm Darcy Hubert. I'm from Moose Jaw, and I want to thank Moose Jaw Curling Club for this honor to be part of the board, and I look forward to an exciting 2 years and all the challenges that come with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darcy. And finally, for the final board of director appointment is a 1-year term. Corey Kohutch from Saskatoon, nominated by the Newtana Curling Club here in Saskatoon.
All right, thanks Mitch. Thanks everyone. My name is Corey Kohutch. I am the general manager at the Newtana Curling Club. I'm also a franchise owner and certified master inspector for a Buyer's Choice Home Inspections in Saskatoon. I was going to just kind of read my bio off of my book there, and I said, no, I'll just come up and wing it, so I put myself under all this pressure. So speaking of pressure, I'm at home a couple weeks ago, and I'm sitting there, and my kids are there, my mom, my dad, my sister, my niece and nephew, and I'm looking across, and a month ago I haven't seen them since we won the Canadian Championships in BC, and kind of thought talking curling, and it's my second Canadian Championship in 4 years, and I thought maybe the discussion would head that way. Crickets, nothing. and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And then I look across, and there's Mom, 2010 Travelers Canadian Champion, 2008 World Senior Ladies Champion, just inducted into the Lethbridge Hall of Fame. I got a little bit of work to do yet, so that's pressure right there in the family anyway. So I'm excited to take on this challenge. We've got 14,000 plus members in CURLSASK. We're here to work for them, listen to them. if they come up with ideas and, you know, and try, and if it makes sense to us to grow the sport, whether it's at the grassroots level, whether it's in the club, whether it's, you know, at the highest level, we should listen and try to do that, you know, and try and grow the sport, and that's what the board is for. It's for working for those people. I'm looking forward to that challenge, and looking forward to the excitement. One thing I do have to ask Dean, anybody that was here earlier on when we were listening to all the speeches, Dean's was really interesting, and he did say one thing about what his team does. In May, they go through and they get their sponsorship and they order their jackets and stuff like that. Would you recommend senior teams ordering their jackets in May? Every year it seems like we go out and our center of gravity gets lower and lower at the start of the year. This past season I fell my first 2 practices. I'm like, must be playing seniors this year. But
Just order one size higher.
yeah. Anyways, thank you guys very much. Looking forward to a great year, and thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Next, I'm going to move to the vice president. So we have one nomination for one position, a 2-year term. So there will be no vote needed. I've been fortunate to be able to work with Jim for a few years here. It looks like we're going to be spending some time together yet. We're not done. We have some more unfinished business. So I would like to invite Jim to come up and say a couple of words to accept your vice president from the nominated by the Nutana Curling Club in Saskatoon.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jim. Happy birthday to you.
How do I follow that? Okay, I want to thank Mitch for everything that he's done. I've been on the board since 15. I've learned a lot from all of these people. One thing that we can't forget in all of this, they're all volunteers. Everybody here on the board are all volunteers. We try to get things right. Some people don't agree with us all the time, but it's not because we're not trying. And I'm really looking forward to the people that we have. Pat Simmons has got some great stuff coming from the junior programs, the high performance programs, and I'm really looking forward to getting on that type of wave with him because it's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Didn't realize that we were going to sing.
Yeah, I know.
And finally, president. So we have one nomination for one position, so no vote required.
You take nominations from the floor?
No.
I'm pretty sure we have security here.
You would be hard to move out of here.
So we have,
I'll do it.
so we have a 2-year term for president now. We have, as I said, we have the one nomination for the one position. And I would like to invite Christy Walker to come forward, nominated by the Twin Rivers Curling Club in North Battleford. Is that correct?
Hi everyone. I would like to start by thanking Twin Rivers Curling Club for the nomination. I truly do appreciate it. For those of you that don't know me, I am from Kerrobert, and I curl out of Unity, and I also curl out of Twin Rivers in North Battleford. My full-time pay job, I am the manager of lending at the Unity Credit Union, so it keeps me a little bit busy. I have been honored to serve on the CURLSASK board for the last 7 years, and feel like I've gained invaluable knowledge and lessons and experience over those years. I'm thinking it's going to serve me well in the coming couple of years. It is going to be a little bit trying at times because we're going to be changing things and trying to keep growing this sport, but I'm looking forward to what it has to offer to us. I'm extremely excited for the future of our sport. As Jim alluded to, Pat's doing some pretty amazing things with the high performance teams and has some really fantastic ideas going forward. We've got Matt and Dan who are really trying to move us to the next level and getting clubs engaged and promoting CURLSASK and promoting curling. So I'm really excited to see what we have going forward there. I'd like to thank the outgoing board. You guys have been amazing to work with. It's been wonderful the last 7 years. I've developed friendships over it. I've been able to work numerous events, and those are memories that you'll just never replace, and I'm looking forward to building and creating more memories as we go. I'm super excited for the new board. The team we've got is absolutely amazing, and the additions coming on are going to be fantastic, so I'm really excited to what we have going on there. And again, thank you to the staff. You guys are always there to help and pitch in and coming up with ideas, so thank you for that. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody for your support in the coming years.
All right, finally it's here. Over the last about day and a half or so, I've been accused of actually knowing how many seconds till this very moment. So not that I'm really all that excited about it, but it is. So as is tradition in the changeover of the president, I will now hand the gavel to your new president.
Thank you, Mitch. And yes, I did hug, for those of you who are thinking I didn't. I did. Thank you, Mitch. On behalf of our membership, I wish to thank you for your 9+ years as a member of the CURLSASK Board of Directors. And I do look forward to serving as CURLSASK President for the 2019 to 2021 term. I would now like to introduce you to your CURLSASK Board of Directors for 2019-2020 season. And again, if we can ask you to please stand while we introduce everybody. Vice President, Jim Wilson. Finance Officer, Chad Garreau. Member at Large, Michael Dudar. Member at Large, Daryl Brandt. Member at Large, Darlene Danilou. Member at Large, Helen Fornwald. Member at Large, Darcy Hugebert. And Member at Large, Corey Kodge. Thank you. I am pleased to announce that the date and location of the 2020 AGM is in Regina, and the tentative date is June the 6th of 2020. I now would invite a motion for the adjournment. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I now declare the 2019 Annual General Meeting of the Saskatchewan Curling Association adjourned.